Welcome to the Passionpreneur Experience, where I examine the thoughts, energy, and strategy a side hustler needs to grow their entrepreneurial dreams, all while they work their corporate 9-to-5 day job. I'm your host, Bridget Cobb. Now let's get started. Welcome back to the Passionpreneur Experience. Today, we will be talking about celebrating wins. You know, it is the beginning of the year. As you know, one of the things that we do as entrepreneurs at the beginning of the year is set big goals. We set out our vision for the year. We set out what we want to provide, what kind of value we're going to bring to our customers this year. And out in front of us are amazing goals, amazing challenges that we are going to work towards and we're going to achieve. We're going to overcome obstacles. There's so much that we lay down in front of us for the year with intentionally challenging ourselves. I believe one item that we leave out of our plan, or one item that we get really conscious about at the beginning of the year, is how to celebrate our wins when we hit them. We're setting those big goals out there because we want to achieve them. We want to surmount that obstacle we've put in front of ourselves, conquer that fear. We want to achieve that higher number or hire on that new team member. We put all of those challenges out in front of us because we're driven people and we want to continually improve and grow, not to mention serve customers who we love and bring real, true value. But we often get so engrossed in the task ahead, so engrossed in the goals that we've set for ourselves. And let me tell you, most of us will be out there aggressively setting goals, one after another, in rapid succession. Once we hit that, we move there. Once we go there, we rise up another step to the next level. And what we forget sometimes is that we need to celebrate those wins along the way. So that's what I want to talk about today, is building that intentionally into your culture, your team, and everything I'm going to talk about today is translatable, whether you have a team or you're a solopreneur. Whether you've got lots of people around you working on your side hustle or it's just you. This is equally important to bring in to your own culture and how you run your business. So let's take a look at it, celebrating wins. First of all, why? Why is it important to stop and celebrate a milestone or celebrate an achievement? Well, I think by default, it's easy for us to give our attention to fires, to what is going wrong, to where we see we need improvement or where we might be behind. All right, and we put a lot of energy there to stay on track and hit, like I said, those aggressive goals that we set for ourselves. Alternatively, and that might sound, that's a bit draining, that's a bit negative. I actually just like to focus on momentum. So yes, I hit that goal. Now I want to catapult forward. I want to take advantage of the momentum that I just hit and push forward. And that might sound very positive. In fact, both of them could sound positive to say, well, look, I focus on when I'm slipping and I catch up, or I focus on when I'm ahead and I move forward. And both of those things can be important to a business. It's the split second in between, that moment from when you do catch up. It's recognizing that moment of, let's say you catch where you're hemorrhaging and say, okay, I see, I actually was letting that drop and I'm losing customers there. That is a win. I caught that and I'm going to fix it now. And maybe you do catch up and you plug the hole. Or you hit the big goal and you see a path to catapult forward, or you see that you could ride that momentum. The key here is taking that split second, taking that moment to acknowledge what you have just done and call some light to it in some way, shape, or form, and celebrate that fact that you hit that. It's important for so many reasons. Why is it important? Well, I could go through a massive list, but I'll hit at a couple of things. So first of all, motivation, straight up. When we're constantly focused on where we're behind or what we're lacking, obviously that's quite draining energy-wise. You feel like you're always behind, and then you start to get into this mentality of being short on breath. You can't take a big inhale and exhale. It's just short gasps. I got to catch up. I got to catch up. And that can be quite exhausting. You never feel fully settled. So if you're going, even if you do catch up, then you're in this habitual pattern of taking gasps instead of big, full breaths in and out. So you just continue that pattern forward. And even though you put the fire out, or you've stopped the bleeding over there, you just continue to gasp for air and jump to the next thing. And you'll find where you're behind. You'll find the hole or the lacking area and gasp for air over there. Same with when you are continually focused on momentum, where you might hit that goal and then you don't lift your head up. You've got your head down and you're barreling straight ahead. I like to think of, I lived in Australia for many, many years, and kind of a funny story about a wombat. My partner was actually taken out by a wombat riding his bike. And the funny thing about wombats are they have very poor eyesight. So when they get frightened, let's say they get flushed out of the bush or something, they get scared, they just put their heads down and they run because they're pretty bulky, meaty animals. There's not much that they couldn't just run through. So that's what they do. They just barrel through without ever looking up. They make progress. They cut their way through the thick brush and they make a path for themselves. But at what cost? They leave a lot of damage in their wake, and they might hit things along the way. That's what happened to my partner, Mike, who went flying off of his bike and was the butt of everyone's joke because he got ran over by a wombat. But anyway, I digress. That can happen with momentum, where we forget to lift our heads up and look around and say, holy crap, what did I just accomplish? Can I just take a second to acknowledge that? All right, so motivation is powerful here when I start to understand what I'm actually achieving and what I'm capable of, and that just spurs me on to do more. That makes me understand that my skill set's in place, that the effort that I'm putting in is coming to fruition. It's building. It's creating my vision. It also shows your strengths. In episodes previous, I talked about focusing on your strengths. And when you take time to acknowledge a milestone or acknowledge an achievement, no matter how big or small, to go back over and do that strengths inventory and say, what did it take to achieve that? What do I have in my tool belt right now? Because I hit that milestone, which brings me up to that level. It brings me up a new notch. And that allows me to see what I'm capable of in the future. Taking time to recognize your milestones and celebrate your wins is also a fantastic way to build your story and really recognize the growth that has happened in your company. Because it's easy to, again, when we get into wombat stage, we put our heads down and we barrel through. Sometimes we don't have that perspective of looking around and seeing what kind of growth we've actually experienced. And that can be a powerful story to share. Share with your peers, share with your customers, to show how maybe even some of the own tools that you implement and you use can come to life and grow if you're using your own tools and philosophies. And that can be a powerful testimonial to your customers. So being aware of your own growth and progression is a powerful storytelling element. And then, of course, it just reaffirms your mission. Every time you sit down and take that moment to reflect, it's another opportunity for you to reconnect with your mission and with your goals, with your values, because you're in many cases when you're evaluating a win, you're using your own values, tenets, mission to reaffirm and to say, yep, that's actually a win for my company. So it's another beautiful way to reconnect. Now, of course, if you're with a team, if you've got a team, then that's super powerful to do that with your team. It brings everybody along on the journey. So let's talk about what you might want to celebrate. How do I know what to celebrate and what to blow past? Well, that's completely up to you. It's up to the size of your business. It's up to the goals that you've set. And also what you feel you and or your team needs in order to keep that momentum, keep the excitement, to evaluate your strengths. So it's not necessarily about the size of the event or the size of the occurrence. It's about the impact it has had to you, your customer, or your business. So have a look at that. If you find that this is a milestone and you're feeling it's a milestone in your heart, then celebrate it. If it doesn't necessarily have to be this black and white milestone you've written on a paper, like a revenue target or the size of my email list or downloads of a podcast. It could be a comment that comes through, a review that's left on the podcast. And that powerful response that you get, that you can go back and you can celebrate the hell out of that. I would. I know I do. I've gotten some amazing comments on the show already, even in its infancy. And I'll tell you, I go back on a regular basis and I read them because they're powerful motivators for me. So highly suggest that, when you're looking at what you want to celebrate, take a look at how it makes you feel. And if you're feeling good about it, then I would be sharing it with my team. I would be sharing it with my peers or my customers. And let's talk a little bit more about that. Who do I share with? Because you may be part of a team. You may be running a team. Or you could be a solopreneur. It could just be you. So let's talk about teams first. As a leader of a team, this should be a high priority for you, celebrating wins. And you've got lots of opportunity now to celebrate. You've got wins that are led by the team, wins that your customers have had that you can share with the team. You also have wins of the individuals on the team. So building this in my corporate life, I had a team, I still have the team, and I would share almost on a bi-weekly basis. I'd find something. I would find a customer comment or a particular number on an email list or something to share back with the team to say, as a team, this is the impact we're having. Let's take a moment to recognize it. And then individuals, because every individual, this was a volunteer team that reported to me, they each had their own individual area of focus. So when there was a milestone there or something significant, then in the team meeting, I would share that and acknowledge that person and have a moment for us to learn from what they did and how they did it, so that maybe we could incorporate that in what we were doing because we each had our own focus. So powerful exercise, and really allowed the team to take ownership as a whole, the whole team to take ownership over every win. Even if it was an individual that brought forth that when we celebrated it as a team, 9 times out of 10, in that member saying, yeah, I did that, but I asked for some advice over here from team member A, and team member B actually proofread the email that was launched, or whatever it is. And you start to build a culture of sharing those wins. And, people look to share that across. And it's really magical to watch as the team leader. And it also builds in a culture then of celebrating. Because now, instead of me continually bringing up wins, I've got the team saying, I'd like to put a win forward. I'd like to talk about a win in the next meeting. So it's making that a fun part of the culture that we celebrate. What if it's just you, though? What if you are a solopreneur and you don't have a team? So if I remove myself out of the corporate gig, I'm a solopreneur in my entrepreneurial life. It's just me. So how do I build a culture of celebrating wins? And when it's just me, it's still super important. So I do it in a couple of different ways. First of all, I make sure I'm part of a community. And I've got, luckily, the Passionpreneur Experience online community that's full of passionpreneurs, side hustlers like you, like me. And I want to go in there and make sure I celebrate my wins. And I want everyone in the community to celebrate their wins so that we have someone to share with that understands where we are and what that means. I'm also going to share with my peers in other ways. So I've got small networking groups, and I'm part of a mastermind group myself that I participate in. So I make sure I share my wins there. And then there's also sharing with customers. I'd like to, that's part of what a testimonials might be on your website, is sharing wins that have come through with your other customers. And putting that out there, sharing successes. So there are a lot of powerful ways to do that. Again, if you're not part of a team in your entrepreneurial effort, you can build a team around you. And that's just an online community or a forum or a place where you are meeting with peers, like-minded people, other entrepreneurs, and you're sharing your successes there. And when you get that, you've got a group of people that are sitting there saying, I get it. I get exactly what that means and how that feels. And either they've been there before, and so they're gonna congratulate you and be able to recognize that feeling, or they're not quite there yet, and now they get to ride that momentum and that motivation that you've set and say, wow, that gives me hope. I know I can get there. She got there. I can get there. All right, so you're kind of bringing this powerful community together, or again, culture of sharing wins and celebrating. And celebrating a win doesn't have to be, oh, well, now I'm going to go buy myself a new car, or I'm going to go on a vacation. It can be as small as just recognizing it and giving it the time and the energy and the mental focus that it deserves in that moment. All right, it could be as simple as mentioning it in a team meeting. It could be as simple as a post to your forum to say, just wanted to put this out there. I kicked this goal and I feel awesome about it. And putting it out there into your community. So it could be as simple as that. Or it could be as big as, yes, I'm going to celebrate with that spa treatment. Or I'm going to, when I hit that goal, it means I get X. I'll spend some money on myself, or I'll take some time for myself, whatever it's going to be, however you want to reward yourself. But it doesn't always need to be that. And in fact, sometimes that can, if we're putting money against a celebration, sometimes even large amounts of time, it can dissuade us from celebrating because we feel like it needs to be a really big achievement before we can celebrate because we've put a high cost against it. So kind of pull that idea back and say there are other ways to celebrate that are low, no cost, and open it up a little bit. So as you look forward into 2020, you've got these amazing goals you've set for yourself. Hopefully you have set the bar high, so you will have some challenges, and start to think about, what does that look like in my culture, team culture, either as a group or culture of one? What does it look like for me to celebrate? How do I plan to do that? And you don't have to plan each success or and link it to a particular success now, but think about, how would I? When I hit something, how am I going to celebrate? So that when it happens, it's default for you. You jump in and you take action. Keeping a diary around wins is fantastic. You've got a notebook just dedicated to wins, and big or small, you just go in and you jot it down. And man, what a cool exercise to review that at the end of each month or quarter or year and see what you've done. Have a moment, go back and reflect. It's very powerful. It'll help you goal set for the next year, and it'll keep you moving forward. And that's what we want. So I highly encourage you, take celebrating your wins, achievements, accomplishments seriously this year, and reap the rewards as you give yourself that time to recognize your achievements. That's all I have for you today on the Passionpreneur Experience. So as always, guys, I will see you here next time. Bye. Are you building your side hustle business all on your own? Well, you don't have to. Engaging with and being accountable to a supportive community will increase your productivity and keep you on track. Join my private Facebook community, the Passionpreneur Experience, and connect with like-minded side hustlers just like you. Head to the show notes now for a link to the group and start building the business of your dreams.